Hi, welcome back. Fast Monty's Garage, episode 5 of our TREMEC install. Whew, man, what a learning curve. Now if you're new here, we're actually replacing my Muncie 4-speed with this 5-speed TREMEC 600, and this process is applicable to all projects, all muscle cars. There's going to be different procedures done for every car, but the premise is going to be the same. You're going to have to test fit the transmission, you have to get the bell housing alignment, blah 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 blah. I've never done this before, and you probably haven't either, so welcome and subscribe to continue the fun. And our next step here is to drop the car, take the interior out, because our last episode we actually tried to test fit the transmission and determined that with all the might in the world I couldn't hammer out a couple of the corners in the tunnel to make it fit. That means we have to cut it up, and that's what we're going to do in this episode. Stay tuned, have some fun, take some notes if you're going to do this at home, and we'll go from there. Be right back. Alright, boys and girls, this is what we're looking at. We have to take out this seat at a minimum, door sill, our kick panel, and luckily the carpet brake is right here, so we just have to take up this half of the carpet, the center console. And since most of our modifications are on the passenger side, I don't think we have to take the driver's seat out, thank God, because it's way over there. I can't get through that door. It's on the side of my garage. So I'm going to get to it, and this is going to be fast forwarded with hopefully some cool music I find, and I'll be right back. Whew. Cool kick panel, right? Dynamat speakers, Alpine speakers. They sound awesome when the engine's off, but when the engine's on you can't hear anything, which is also awesome. Alright, time to take the seat out. It's biased towards the back, so I fold it over first. And then take the front nuts off. And I can't remember how heavy it is, I will find out. Yeah, it's heavy. So much easier to work in here with the seat out. So now I have to take the center console out, and to do that there's a screw in the front. There's also a screw underneath, but we have to take the glove box apart. So I have to take the door off, and I have a whole bunch of wiring in here, you know, for my iPod, bass control, cutoff switch for the battery. So I don't even remember how much wiring's in there, so we're going to find out. So all the wiring I was talking about, so I have a battery cutoff. This is actually to my fuel pump. That's a whole nother video. And bass control and 2 USB cables. Okay, wiring's out of the glove box, and there's 2 screws here and 1 screw in the front. Ta-da! Alright, shifter boot is just 4 screws. Plate and boot. Alright team, my plan is just to pull the carpet back and fold it over there because, like I said, I don't think we need to get on that side of the tunnel. And we'll see, because I glued it down. We'll see what happens. Alright, there we go. Alright guys, the Silver Sport kit actually comes with this cool template. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to cut it out, and it has these little spacers. I'll show you how to use those. And then you lay it on your tunnel, and that's for your cut lines. So this is handy for someone who's converting from a automatic transmission to manual. You have to use this whole template, but we only have to use certain areas, like this area here, to cut out, and we'll figure it out as we go. But I'll go ahead and cut this out and show you guys where to put it in the car, and we'll go from there. Here's the template cut out. You actually have these split lines and these wedges to put in, so you actually split it and you tape in these wedges. That wedge is both front and rear. It's awkward because this allows you to actually bend it over the rounded tunnel. So I'll go put it in the car. Alright team, this is how the template laid down. There's a seam line on the template, and you can't see the seam very well, but I can feel it through the Dynamat. This is that one area I was pounding with the hammer, and I can tell because all the primer's coming off the paint. So that's cool. This whole area is what you're supposed to cut out when you have an automatic transmission. This is already taken care of because it's a manual car. All we need to do is cut this section out, frankly, and then put a patch panel in there. And if you have an automatic car, this area will be cut out and replaced, and there is replacement steel in the kit, and we'll go over that when I do this little section. And I remember we have 3 sections underneath the car. There's one little section right here that was giving me a hard time, and one over here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and lift the car back up, go underneath the car, and I'm going to drill a hole right where the trouble spot is. So that'll give us some guidance of what to look at and what to fix. And we'll go from there. All right, boys and girls, I drilled the hole. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. Right on the edge of the template. That's where we need metal to come up. I gave it some, like a 1/2 inch leeway. So this is the worst case scenario. That's where I put the hole. And check out this one. It's not even on the template. So I don't know. I haven't thought about what to do there yet. Maybe just put a little patch panel, just to give it some more room. Maybe even take out a bigger section. Make it a little bit more square. And then the other hole is on the back side here. I know you can't see it, but it's right here, and we can actually cover that in with a patch panel too. So I'm going to go ahead and make some lines with a Sharpie and tape it up. Get a pattern going. I have to also get rid of the Dynamat because that's gonna be fun. Right, boys and girls, I think it's time to cut this out. This is the line I wanted to cut around, this inside line where I taped off. And there's a few options for us. We can actually use a cutting wheel, right, and cut along here. Cutting wheels make a ton of mess. You know, throwing sparks, this material comes off and gets everywhere. So you can also use a plasma cutter if you had bare steel to look at, but I like my trusty little, let's call it a mini Sawzall. It's air powered. I got this from Eastwood. So what I'm going to do, I can't make 90-degree corners very well, so I'm going to make starter holes basically with a drill bit that's a little bit bigger than the blade, so I can actually put a starter hole in some of the corners. You only have to do, let's call this a box. You only have to do 3 corners because the other corner will just come together with the blade. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my spots and get to cutting. Here we go. All right, there we go. So there was 2 layers of metal I had to go through on the corners, and I love it. So we can actually make a patch panel that comes right over this edge. I'm gonna go ahead and decide where I need to cut here. I need to cut that back hole, and throw the transmission back in, and we'll see where we are. So I'll be right back. All right. Check it out. So our cutout works perfectly. Transmission's in. I was able to bolt it to the brace, and the brace is centered. Now, if you guys remember, when we put the compared the 2 transmission lengths, the new one is like 2.5 inches longer. That means this got pushed back in the car about 1.5 inches or so. That means we have a little issue on the rail side, so I'm going to go to that view. So here's where the transmission brace mounts to the frame rail, and I was able to locate one of the holes, but unfortunately the other hole doesn't line up. So I'm going to take my center punch, which is this guy here, and I'm going to find the middle, and then I'm also going to use this pointy end as a scribe, and I'm going to scribe the hole, and this is on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and when I take the brace out, I'm going to drill a hole to make sure we can get another bolt here, and we're good. And you can see where the original hole was. So with the Muncie, this is the original location, and we had to push the support back. It looks like, I don't know, 1.5 inches, but there's no hole here, so we have to make a new hole, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, here's the top view. So as you can tell, our 3 sections were cut out perfectly, and this, like these corners, would have touched the tunnel, especially this one here. So now our task is to craft a piece of metal to go over each section, and just to give about 1/4 inch clearance. And what I did was underneath the transmission mount where the brace is, I actually added a 3/16 inch washer, so this is actually taller than normal, so that gives us room when we put the transmission or in and out. We can remove the brace, so I built in some extra room so we can model around this section. Hey guys, good time to take a break. The next step here is actually to measure your drive shaft length while the transmission's in the car, because there's a lead time on getting that ordered, and by the time we do all of our patch panel work, we should have a drive shaft. Well, that's the plan anyway. So next video is going to be how to measure your drive shaft length. The video after that will be our patch panel work, which will be awesome because it's a lot of work involved, and no one will see the outcome but you guys. Oh, before I forget, if you're using long tube headers, you might want to mock them up right now, because I just found out that the TREMEC sits lower than the Muncie, which means the collectors now point down. And if ground clearance is important to you, like it is to me, that's a problem. So I have to shim the back of the transmission off the brace to get those collectors more level. And now that requires more trimming of the tunnel. Hooray! So make sure you do that, just for sanity's sake. Man, I wish that was in the instructions. Wouldn't that be cool? Hey, by the way, put your headers on because they might sit lower. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Thanks for hanging out. Building fast, driving faster. See ya.